What's up, everybody? Wolf from Walmart. We're back, baby, again.
Not a bad fish right there, guys.
Oh, no.
Out here catching Folsom bass right now, dude. Woo, he's a little chunker. What up, everybody? Happy Monday. 'Tis I, the host of The Whole Angler, Dave Erkey. I'm here for you guys tonight. We're going to have a good time. And when I say tonight, it's because we're actually recording in the evening, which is, a rarity for me lately. If anybody knows, I like to record at 3 in the morning because I'm a lunatic. But first off, I'd like to thank a couple sponsors of the show. Element, thank you guys for all the delicious, salty electrolyte desserts and desires that I get from you guys. I've been able to get all sorts of stuff. You guys, if you guys haven't checked out Element or the Element website lately, go check it out. They don't just have electrolytes for your drinks. They have all sorts of stuff. In fact, they have these bubbly waters. I'm not a fan. My wife loves them. They're delicious. So every time they show up, they disappear faster than I don't even know what flavors we get by the time they're gone. So it's pretty impressive. Go ahead and go over to the website and check it out. If you guys want a link, go ahead and hit me up. I can get you a link for the Element. And also, I'd like to thank these gentlemen right here. What up, dudes and dudettes? I'm sure you're tired of hearing my voice by now, but you're going to hear it for a little bit longer because this is a shout out to the sponsor of this show, Kayak City. Kayak City has been taking care of me ever since I started getting into a boat and paddling around in the water trying to catch some fish. And when I tell you it is Kayak City, it is literally like a city of kayaks. They have Bonafide, Eddy Line, Feel Free, Hobie, Jackson, Native, New Canoe, Old Town, Wilderness Systems, and so many used kayaks. I stopped trying to count them a long time ago. If you guys are looking for accessories, they have walls and walls and walls of accessories. They have one wall dedicated specifically to Yak Attack, and it is a massive wall. Kayak City is your #1 Yak Attack dealer here in Northern California. If you want to know where it is, stop by at 7812 Auburn Boulevard, Citrus Heights, CA. Roll through, say what up to James, Troy, Eric, Scott. Tell them Dave says what's up and tell them I sent you there. Thanks for listening. All right, the business is out of the way. Now I would like to come to you guys as a normal human being. And I would like to talk about one thing, friend groups. Everybody has a friend group. And in your friend group, just think of your own personal friend group for a second. And when you think about your personal friend group, think about the different features and points of view and perspectives that each friend gives. Every friend has a little something different that they bring to the group. Me, I'm that friend. I'm like that guy, the guy that everybody thinks it, nobody's saying it. Somehow it comes out of my mouth. So I'm that friend, just to clarify. But tonight I have a few friends on. And the reason why I'm bringing this whole thing up is when it comes to groups and it comes to whatever your passion happens to be, whether it be fishing, basketball, hockey, everybody brings something different to the table. And tonight I decided to do something a little different. So I'm going to have multiple guests on tonight, and we're actually going to talk about podcasting, fishing media, and in a different light, because it's not necessarily my time to have some questions. I got a couple buddies who just recently started a show, and it's really interesting. I love listening to the show. In fact, I tend to copy one of their lines on a regular basis as I go about my day. And so I'm going to go ahead and start bringing all these guests in. But first, I'd like to bring these two guys in. Into the deep we go with Matt and James from Small Ponds, Big Dreams. Boys, how are you?
Good, man. How we doing, Dave?
Dude, I'm doing well. Dude, you have no idea how many times I say that a day. I'm like, into the room we go. And my daughter just looks at me like I'm a lunatic, but it's funny, dude. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
How long you guys had a show now? You guys are how many episodes in?
35?
35.
Just dropped?
35 or 36. We're somewhere in the mid-30s.
Dude, crushing it. And I'm really loving the show. Like, you guys are specifically on Spotify only, though, right? So I can just clarify that.
No, Spotify and YouTube.
Spotify and YouTube. Okay, but
Yeah.
Are you guys going to do the Apple Podcast or just going to stay Spotify and YouTube for now?
Apple Podcasts in the works.
All right, cool. I was just curious because I specifically will go to the Spotify to listen to the show because, I really like you guys' show and I really like what you guys are bringing to the table.
That,
so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to introduce all the rest of our guests. But first off, let's clarify for the people on the YouTube. Matt, raise your hand. James, raise your hand. There we go. Now we know who we're talking about. So when somebody asks a question, whether it be Matt or James, we all know.
Awesome.
Onward, moving forward, let's go a little bit down the street. We're going to go ahead and hit a buddy up that's, not too far away, but, close enough to call a homie. Mr. Andrew Hayes. How are
How's
you,
it going?
buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
Dude, well, man,
Good.
doing super well. Dude,
Good.
so thank you you are the busiest dude I know. I swear to God. So thanks for carving out some time to jump in, dude. I really appreciate it.
It's just work. That's all I do is work, unfortunately.
I get it, man.
It's
Now,
baseball
okay.
season.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh.
I thought you were just having like busy meetings day. Like it's full
No.
on season.
Full on. We just finished. Well, it has been 28 days since the last day off.
Oh,
Yeah. It's been rough.
dude. Yeah.
Zombie mode. Full zombie mode at this point.
Like, well, you don't look like a zombie. You're doing just fine right now. So
That's what coffee's for.
yeah, I'm like you're hiding it very well, sir. All right,
Thanks for having me,
Andrew,
though.
dude. Thank you. All right, you have a show, Tackle Talk. It is a podcast. You've been around quite a while. In fact, you were one of the first fishing podcasts that I fell upon when I was looking up fishing podcasts. So, how many episodes in are you? How long you been doing it now?
I think we're at like 356 episodes or something like that. And it's once a week. So we've been doing it since like mid 2019. So I guess it's like 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, like 8 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You count like I count. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So 8 years.
yeah.
8 years you've been in the game doing this, dude. And like you are responsible for a lot of other people like taking off and doing this kind of thing as well, dude. Like you've really like lit a fire under people. So I appreciate
I think it's just giving me too much credit. I think it's just I'm the silly person that just like never quit doing it. So, and I know you've got some other people in this show that are in the same boat where it's like it's just if you stay consistent with anything, like it'll be successful at some point. And I know there's a couple other guys in here that have been grinding for years and years and years as well.
Dude, absolutely. In fact, let's bring one of them in right now. Let's bring in your arch nemesis, Bailey.
Depends on the day.
What's up, boys?
Bailey, how are you, bud?
Good. I mean, it sucks that Hayes is here, but we'll make do. I say that it's all out of fun because I love Andrew. We love to give each other a hard time, but it's all in good fun. There's a reason why there's 3 million hat boxes behind him is because he's built himself a little empire over there.
Oh
Yeah, there's hats in here.
It's all for show. It's all AI.
It's not my side gig that it's highly illegal. No, these are hats.
It is Dayton, Ohio. So
Yeah, I was like the
Exactly.
mean streets of Dayton. You guys are a little classy though. You bring it in a box. That's cool.
Yeah.
So Bailey, you have a very successful show going on. In fact, you have like almost like a full media enterprise at this point, right?
Yeah, it's a network of a couple shows. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Serious Angler, right?
Serious Angler Network. Yeah, Serious Angler is the headline show, and we have Lure Lab, Kayak Fishing Weekly, and more to come.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. That's awesome. More to come.
Teaser.
Please tell me you're going to stat. He's going to take over 5 days a week. I would just really love that. That'd be
He's
awesome.
gonna be the
Won't be me.
meat eater. He's gonna be the meat eater of fishing. I've said that for like years at this point.
Dude, he told me
Trying.
that specifically. He's
Bailey
like, that's a
Ranello
goal.
over here. Yeah.
Yes. Dude. All right.
We're
And
trying.
how long you been doing it, Bailey? How long you been in the game?
Hayes and I have talked about this. We think at literally just about almost the same time. It was August of 2019 is when I started.
Yep.
It was right at pre-COVID when we kicked things off.
Nice, dude. And you, Bailey, you started in a dorm. Like I've talked to both of you individually on the show. And Bailey, you started in your dorm room just because you couldn't go fishing, so you started talking about it, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I was doing my completing my master's and was working an internship, and it was like 90-hour work weeks, and I couldn't go fish. And basically, long story short, was a Rogan nut. My buddy's like, "Oh, you should start a pod," because my only thing I care about is learning, and I couldn't go fishing because I couldn't really learn well. And it's like, "Oh, just take a shot in the dark, invite all your favorite people on a podcast, and see if they'll talk to you, and that way you can learn." And it's kind of stemmed from there.
And you have a life-size graphic in the background to show for it. Like I love it, dude. That's so
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, you
That was
have
a
more than
birthday
that,
present
but
from one of my best friends. He actually made that, which is severely impressive.
Sweet.
that's dope, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna bring the last guy in right for now, and he's definitely he may be the last, but he's definitely not the least. This is one of my close friends who we talk to on a regular basis, and he's actually gonna be coming out here to California pretty soon, and we're gonna go fishing and have a good time. And that is my friend Sir Bobby Roast Beef.
You guys, I just did a bong rip waiting for you guys. They're gonna cut to me, and I'm gonna be exhaling or putting this back. So, welcome, guys.
I wish we had the exhale. That would be great. Bobby, how are you, dude?
I'm doing well.
Bobby, you have a show, Jigs
I
and
do.
Big.
I do.
All right. How long you been doing it?
Started April the 8th of 2020, and we've done a weekly episode ever since. We just dropped episode 330.
So you guys are all like way up there in the numbers, dude. So Andrew said it. Consistency is key. Like,
Yep.
I am the antithesis of consistency, if anybody knows me. But like, consistency is key to get success in this game, or at least at anything, really. So, is there anything that you guys have found, like from the beginning to now, like your experience in fishing media? How has that changed you as a person? Like, I can imagine at one point you're like, I'm just doing this for fun. Like Bailey said, I just want to learn. But you are at a totally different place now. All three of you guys are in totally different levels now. So do you still have the same mindset about it, or has that altered, evolved, and changed into something different? Like,
It's definitely evolved. Absolutely. Like I've said from the beginning, in like the very first year, I'd say, especially once I brought Sean on as my co-host, because I always had this feeling of not having enough experience with fishing to really talk about it. And I was using the show as a way to learn, to just almost selfishly get guests to come on, talk about techniques, talk about stuff. Because it was almost like, at the time I was listening to Tackle Talk, and I was like, all right, Andrew, your episode about the 5 rods every angler needs shaped my, the way I approach arming myself with gear. You know what I mean? It really did. So I was looking at how can I learn more faster and everything. And when I brought Sean in, it was really obvious that he and I fished in different ways. So he would fish, he's an Air Force guy. He was on a mission, I was on a journey. I was on an adventure. You know what I mean? It was just a different thing. And in my situation, the show has evolved as the journey has evolved with me, whether it's traveling or getting, closer to the industry. I'm still kind of an outlier as far as the industry is concerned, but that's good. That's where I'm most comfortable, and, just also in the way that I fish too, because I've learned quite a bit, and I've applied some of it, and I kind of have a different, I've got 330 episodes worth of experience to kind of lean on, to kind of do something with. But yeah, it's definitely changed me for sure.
yeah. Bailey?
Yeah, I think Bobby kind of hit on it. Was you definitely get, the more you do it, the more connections you make, and the more connections you make, your bigger your network grows, and the more tied into the industry you get. But I think I still have, and this is the most important part, is the same passion and enjoyment for it since I started. If anything, it's grown. And I think that's the biggest key to consistency anyways. If you don't enjoy it, then that just becomes, when it becomes unenjoyable, then you don't want to do it anymore. There's no point to do it. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. And the biggest joy I've had is my lifelong friends now are all fishing industry people that I would not have met. I probably would have never met Hayes if it wasn't for starting the podcast and getting further in the industry.
True.
That's probably the biggest thing that I found.
Andrew?
Yeah, I think the reason why I started it hasn't changed. I still really enjoy putting something out there. It's first and foremost almost for yourself. It's just an outlet to talk about things you want to talk about. And I don't have buddies around here that I can just sit in a room and talk for 5 hours about fishing. So instead I just kind of put it out in a microphone, and I let virtual buddies, listen to it, I guess, is kind of the way of looking at it. And you have opinions and thoughts you want to share with people, and it's just a venue to kind of get that out. But I think as time's gone on, I have to keep not reinventing, but I have to keep changing things so I don't get bored with it, because otherwise there are definitely points where I'm like, man, I need to switch up the format of this show, or I need to do a mini series, or I need to break something up, because you do get stuck in ruts every once in a while. And so that's you have to do it for yourself, and you have to find something that you feel genuinely intrigued about or compelled to talk about, and you can't just fake your way through it and just put out an episode every week because you have to put out an episode every week, because that product is going to fail so bad. People will be able to see through really easy when you start mailing it in and when you lose your passion for it. So I think that's the biggest thing, is you just have to say, at some point, if this becomes something I don't enjoy, you have to be able to walk away from it. And I think that's the barometer for me is like, I still enjoy it, and I still am really passionate about doing it because I am doing it. It's not my full-time job. So if this becomes something that I just do not look forward to doing every week, then there just won't be an episode of Tackle Talk ever again. Like I
Never
just,
hear from
but you know what I mean? It's like that's the fun part, and that's why I really enjoy it not being. I know like everybody's goal usually is like, hey, make this your job, make this your thing. There's two sides of that, and Bailey, you're a great example of this. Like you went the complete opposite way, and you're successful and loving it and making this your full-time job. And part of it's because I'm risk averse and I'm too big of a pansy to take the leap and do it. But then also it's because, you do get freedoms when it's not how I'm paying my electric bill. It's not how I'm feeding my family. So I can, talk about things differently. I don't have to worry about sponsorships as much. Like there's definitely multiple avenues and roads you can take with this. It's not a one size fits all thing. A great example are the people that are on this episode here. So we've all taken very different approaches to that.
100%. That's this is kind of why I put this group together the way I did, because I really wanted to give Matt and James the opportunity to ask us all different questions, because we are all very different people. We have very different, I like to say, niches or whatever. We come at fishing and anglers at a very different perspective. All four of us. There's going to be another member that shows up eventually, but he's recording his podcast right now, so we'll, give him a little bit of a break. But Matt and James, dude, the floor is yours. If you guys have questions, like I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, man. So we once you gave us once me and you talked about the ideas, I kind of started to come up with as many questions as I could. So I think I'm gonna start it out with looking back. What would you guys have done differently in your first year? Like we're still in our first year. We started October of last year, so we're approaching our 1 year. And I wonder if there's anything you guys look back now and like, if I would have just known this then, I may have made a slightly different choice.
That's tough, because I am one of those people that likes to think that I don't want to go back and I definitely understand the whole, if I could go back in time knowing what I know now, how would I approach things differently? But I also put a lot of value on, this is what it is now because of the road that was taken. And the mistakes or the embarrassing, episodes or technical difficulties or any of that stuff is sort of like you learn from that stuff. So there's value to it. So I kind of appreciate it all. I don't know that I would change much in the first year. I think I would probably leave it alone. But that's just
you're almost saying like make those small mistakes, make those baby steps so you learn from them instead of, trying to make it perfect, if you will.
Yeah. It's funny because one of the big pieces of advice, because this is one of the things I get asked about a lot, is like, I want to start, a YouTube channel, or I want to start making content. I want to start Instagram or whatever. What do I do? What do I need for equipment? And I'm like, this. Like, you don't need anything. Like, just whatever you have, just start now. And then whatever you learn and grow with it, because you might do it for 3 or 4 weeks and then be like, this sucks. I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? And then you've made an investment in something that's crazy. It's the same thing with fishing gear. We had probably one of our, everybody in this, on this screen's favorite listeners, Eli, had called in the hotline and asked a question last week. And he was talking about some guys at a camp, I guess, where he's working, and they're interested in fishing, and he wanted to know what he should recommend to them for gear. And I was like, really, it kind of depends on the angler, what their goal is, and whatever it is that'll keep them going, because they don't need a G Loomis rod to go I like to fish. You know what I mean? Anything that will keep them interested will kind of do it. And the same thing applies for if you're creating content or anything. Get started, introduce yourself to it. One of my other passions that I like is that whole overlanding, camping thing and all that stuff. You don't need a rooftop tent your first trip out. You need a cooler, a sleeping bag, and something to sleep in. You're good.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that I think the one mistake I made was having Hayes on a couple podcasts, but
Big
other
mistake.
than that,
Yeah, don't do that. Ratings, downloads.
Yeah, we got canceled for that. No, jokes aside,
It
I
used to be
love.
called something different. Now it's the serious angle.
Yeah, yeah. Now we're serious. It wasn't serious then.
That was the unserious dangler days.
Yeah, yeah. Bobby nailed it though. I'm a big believer as well in everything happens for a reason, and like you gotta take that path. But I would say I'd spin the question if I were to start a podcast again now. Is one is two things. One is do it the way you want to do it, and then if you're open to the concept, is there are so many fishing podcasts out there now, and if your goal is to grow it and be unique with it and be creative, is to study some of these shows and find what people aren't doing and do that. That is the way to grow right now because there's a lot of copy and paste, and it's that if anything, it would be to look back and see what else could I have done creatively to give the listener a better enjoyment experience than like nowadays they have thousands and thousands of options and a lot of them are pretty carbon copy. But just to give you something, I think that is probably what I would have to say on that.
Yeah, I you guys both hit the nail on the head. Like one, just whatever you start, it has to be you and be authentic because otherwise you're not going to be able to keep up that facade forever. So it just has to be like talk how you talk, approach conversations how you approach them. Don't try and put on some sort of act or face because you literally cannot keep it up for, every week for 10 years or whatever and just be something that you're not. So you got to start out right off the bat with just being like, hey, this is who I am. This is, how I sound. This is just how it's going to be. I would find a niche. You're right. So there are still some niches out there that would be really fun to play with that nobody is really doing really well yet, I think. But you do have to, because the days of just being able to like fire up a microphone and say, all right, today we've got Rick Clun on. Rick, tell me about your first Bassmaster Classic. Like those days are over because you can go on YouTube right now and find that same conversation 80 different times. So you have to do something that's different or something that's novel or original and something that hasn't been done a gajillion times. And then the one thing that I really wish I wouldn't have done, because it's probably what almost made me quit the first year, was don't look at the download numbers. Like, don't obsess over how many people are watching or listening or liking or commenting or whatever, because that was what almost got me at the beginning. I was, you're 6 months into this thing. You're putting in, in my case, I do pre-production, I record, and I edit afterwards. You're putting hours and hours and hours into this episode. And then you look at it and it's like, oh, 14 people listen to this. Why am I doing this? But if you don't push through those times, you never get to the other side. So you do have to just kind of like tunnel vision, do it for you, put out something you enjoy putting out and you enjoy making, and then just, for the first 6 months or a year, don't stress over how many people are listening because it's just going to derail you, I think. That almost did me for sure.
That I have learned that, and the social media platforms is a different beast with the boom or bust, but podcasting, unless you are already a famous or big name, it is a slow grow. It is a snowball through and through. Like you are hard pressed to find any case where somebody just booms overnight. Like the way I tell people, because I've had this conversation before, is the reason the Kelsey brothers have such a giant podcast is because they were already famous before they started it.
Definitely.
Guys like us, we're not in the NFL. We're not famous celebrities, when it starts. So you got to know that it's a slow grow, but that goes back again to consistency. It's not going to be episode 1 is 100, episode 2 is 200. It's going to be episode 1 is 10, episode 2 is 11, and it's going to go up from there. But the more you go, the more it gets shared around. Again, snowballs.
You guys all can probably talk to this too, but podcasts are so much different than YouTube, and trying to call them the same thing or trying to compare them is almost not possible, because if you think about podcasts, like you guys said, you're on Spotify right now, like there is no virality to a podcast episode. There's no suggested, there's no autoplay afterwards. There's no, algorithm shoving something down your throat. If they're going and listening to your show, it means they basically, for the most part, pulled up the Spotify app, typed in your show, and made a conscious effort to go listen to it. So it's totally different. You can't, like Bailey said, there's no there's no booms, there's no viral episodes really, because that's just not how podcasts work. So it is a very slow growth, and like mine is the same way. It's still a slow growth. Like if you look at my chart over time, it doesn't go like this. It's just done a steady like, wheelchair ramp basically up over time. And there's like, you could have, you guys know this too, you could have Kevin Van Dam on next episode, or you could have your dad on next episode, and it's going to do pretty much the same number of downloads, because it's just who listens to your show every week, who has slowly found it and has made it part of their routine, and that's your listener base. There is not this big like jump and big changes per episode for me, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say, like, as far as like, so on like Spotify for creators, there's the analytics tab, and I like, so far, like, dude, I don't touch that tab because I feel like, one, I don't even know how to read that stuff, and two, we're so new, I feel like it could discourage me more than encourage me.
I would say the only thing you should touch on that now is the comment section, because now with Spotify, you can get comments from listeners. And I see some people that don't reply to anything, but I will tell you from firsthand, it is worth the time to comment to as many people as possible, because that is how you, Hayes and I have had this conversation too. There is a complete difference, in my opinion, in a community and an audience.
Yeah.
The way more you interact with somebody, the more they get to know you. That is the community of people that you have on your show. But you can have a show that's 2,000 listens, but 100 people are diehards. That's your community. That's the people that show up. Mm-hmm. That is more, if you put more emphasis on building the community than just the numbers, you'll be good for the long haul.
And I will say that I applaud you two, because you guys were the first people. You guys were a little ahead of the game when you guys came out with the show. Some people had already caught on that there are comments on Spotify. You guys directly go, hey, comment on our Spotify. You guys give out a question, what lure technique, this kind of stuff, to draw more of like your direct audience, like people who are following you and want to listen to your show in, and then they get to interact with you, like that guy Jay. And there's a bunch of fun. Like, I love it, dude. Like, I love listening, because you read
John
these
Creek
out.
is in there.
Yes.
And Justin. Yeah, because well, the big thing for me when I started this was I don't have very many friends that go fishing. I don't have very many people to talk fishing to. So I was like, I really want to build a community. Now, I'm a part of everybody's community in here. I talk to people in all of your guys' community. But I wanted to have something for where I felt like it was really easy for me to get into and just like grow these people that I could just conversate with and grow my knowledge in fishing. So that was like one of the reasons I started it. So the first thing that came to my mind was, I was like, oh shoot, let's throw up a question every episode and just try to draw people into the comments and try to get people to talk.
Yeah, dude. And they're always a fun question. Like, it's always super interesting. So like, I appreciate you guys for doing that. So I'm just putting my 2 cents in.
We appreciate your 2 cents. And honestly, we try to make them up in the week, but due to work week, some days we make them up literally minutes before the episode.
Some of those are the best though, because they're so organic and authentic, like what you're doing in that moment. So some of that stuff actually, it pays off to be that last minute.
Yeah. Well, one of them we like pulled from inspiration from a comment. Like somebody commented something and they were talking about, I can't remember if it was like their favorite angler or whatever it was. And so me and James were like, awesome. What's your guys' goat? What's your favorite? What's your goat in angling? And yeah, so it sparked some really fun comments, and it's really enjoyable to actually see the community have somewhere to come together and like actually talk.
Definitely.
So you guys have more questions?
Oh yeah, we got James coming.
Speaking of
next.
communities, actually, do you have any advice for someone who wants to build the community instead of just chasing the downloads? They're looking to actually build it like we are.
Interactiveness, I think, helps a lot. Like one of the things that helped me was about a year and a half ago. On my website, I made like some dedicated pages to direct people to basically like the different segments on the show. So like I have a page dedicated to the mailbag, which is where you can write in like a question and then you have a chance to be heard on the episode. There's another page that's the fishing poll, like POLL, like a survey, and that's like our listener question every week. So there's multiple places where people go once a week, usually, to like go interact, so that they now have a reason to listen to next episode because they feel like they participated. And so it's like anything else. Like if you guys watch a live stream and you comment on the side, then you're like waiting to see if you get interaction with that person with your comment. Yeah, so it's like that's the kind of same feeling. The show and podcasts aren't live most of the time, but you do get that feeling of, oh, I did submit a question. I wonder if my question is going to be on the episode. I should tune in and listen. And that type of stuff helps a little bit, I think, if you just want to like try and make things more interactive, which is tough in a non-live, podcast medium, but there are ways to do it. The hotline, like Bobby, like you're talking about, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say another really easy way to do it is to give some exclusivity to your community. So with us, it was Patreon. And it was just like, we wanted to have we use that as a way to say the folks that subscribe, and what they get out of it is like anytime we've worked with a company or anything like that, we always lobby. So like Dark Horse Tackle is a great example. There was a totally separate promo code for the jig heads, the Patreon subscribers, and they would get was like an extra 5%, just a little something that we could do to try to push value that way, because that was a way for us to have a line in the sand that was like, these folks that are subscribing to tune into the private live stream of the show being recorded, so that they could have that live stream experience, make a comment, and we mentioned them and all that. We were able to put them in a corral together. We're like, yeah, that is the closest community. So like, and there's other perks. Like I'm decked out right now in Hookset Hoodlum apparel. This August we have Hoodlum Fest 2026 coming, which is awesome. It's going to be a blast. The jig heads are getting private invites to join us if they want to come out to Northern Connecticut. So it's like, if you can do that, you kind of put a funnel of where your most dedicated folks. That's not to say the folks that listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts aren't necessarily dedicated, because they're going to reach out and comment and everything else. But that puts a real defining factor where you're like, holy crap, these people will actually pay a small amount each month. Now like it's like a cup of coffee is what we do. And I know Bass and Brews does a Patreon as well for their producers. And if you can offer them a little something extra, or just use that platform on Patreon as a way to keep that engagement going, when you drop something new or you want to field, that group for ideas, that's a great way to do it, because it's almost instantaneous, because that they're paying attention more than maybe like a Facebook follower or an Instagram post follower or something like that.
Yeah, something even these guys have great ideas here, but one thing you can do too that's just simply in your verbiage and how you operate is a lot of people, they feel when it comes to a community, they want to feel like their voice is heard too, in regards to when they're engaging with it. They're not just leaving a comment and they're just another number, because the community really wants to be involved. There's a reason why they're listening to your show week in, week out. And what we always try to tell people is like, we might make the show, but this is your show to listen to. And so like, what do you want to hear about? Who do you want to hear from? You get a lot of engagement that way. If people like, we literally just did it this week. Somebody's like, hey, no one talks about tidal fisheries. So we went and got somebody from the West Coast and the East Coast and talked about tidal fisheries, and made sure to call out the person that left the comment of like, hey, we literally just did this show because of this person's comment asking us to do this. If there's something you want to hear, and that person feels like they just did a show because of my comment, and that feels like it creates more of I guess on a level, an emotional connection to a show. Like, these people, they're listening to me, where versus just you're turning on a show and you're listening to somebody talk. There's more of a higher involvement, I guess, in when they listen to your show on the next one, if that makes sense. But that's more in simple terms, where Bobby and Andrew are on a much higher level than we are in that regard.
Dude, one more person just entered the chat. We're gonna drop him in. It's the other half of Jigs and Bigs, Sir Joe Brown.
Joe,
what's up? What's up?
Joe does not follow the group chat, so he did not understand. We jumped on an hour early, dude. It's all good.
I've been on the road all day. I'm still on the road right now in the back bedroom at a rest stop in South Carolina.
To be honest, you
Dude,
guys, Joe
from
called
the
me
past.
yesterday because he was afraid. He just pulled over into New Jersey because he was afraid he was going to miss the show because he thought it was yesterday. He's like in an RV headed down to Florida right now. He like pulled over, dude. So
So you're not late. You were actually the most early.
yeah,
Yeah,
Most
you're the
early,
earliest you could
yeah.
be.
It could be worse. You could be in Ohio.
Recording, Dave?
That's true.
Ah,
That's true.
That's true. As half the panel here is. Can confirm.
so Matt and James, dude, what do you guys got on your docket coming up? Like for questions wise, like how do I say this? How has your experience been so far? To answer your own questions, like in this first year, like how has your experience been so far? Like not only starting the podcast, but creating a community. How do you feel like that's going for you?
First things first, Dave. I did not expect you to flip the script on me. I thought they would, but no. It's done. So when I started this, as like, I told my wife, I was like, look, I'm gonna do this like for 2 years. If I don't see what I would call like a serious growth, like a community build or anything of that nature, I'll just shut it down. I mean, it's just as easy as clicking a button. Within like the first 4 or 5 months, it did way more, like it did way better than I anticipated. There was a lot of positive feedback. We met Bobby out in Columbus, was on his show early on. That helped out, bringing a lot of people towards us. And I mean, we feel the love. It's been really cool. I've since told my wife, screw the 2 years. We're just gonna ride this thing out until the wheels fall off. I mean, that's just how it is. But it's awesome, man. And the really cool thing is, so like we've had some guests on, some people that some people may have heard of, some people may not have, but it's been so cool to meet these people and talk to them, and just grow those relationships. And every person that we've met, man, it's just been like real down to earth, real chill, and loves to just talk fishing. And that's the best part.
I think that says a lot for this niche that we're in, the fishing community in general. That's just like, yeah, that says a whole lot. You know, that's just how we are.
Yep. There's no suit. I don't feel like besides, Bailey cool guying me, I don't think anybody's ever really cool guyed me. I'm just kidding, Bailey. But I don't think anybody's. It's
Join
not
the
like
club. Bailey's cool guy to all of us.
I'm just saying, like, I've never been cool guyed in fishing yet. Like, no one's ever just been
I
like
have.
so. Well, I haven't. I'm just saying, my experience personally is like I haven't been cool guyed yet. Every time I reach out, shake somebody's hand, and say, "Hey, my name's Dave. Nice to meet you," they're like, they just genuinely, "Hey, man, nice to meet you." Blah blah blah. Like,
yep.
Because I mean, I don't know how else to introduce myself, so it always ends up working out pretty good. Everybody seems really like friendly. So, Bobby, you've had a negative experience?
Many. Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. Happens all the time. So, and actually, I think we mentioned this earlier, Dave, how you said like Matt and James had asked about getting guests and all this other stuff. I think part of it, and this is why I don't take it personal, I think part of it has to do with the nature of the show. This show is entertainment forward. You know what I mean? Like, we're not breaking down technical specs of equipment or, specific technique stuff. We're not super heavily focused on the tournament side or anything. Our goal is to be like the everyman show. So especially early on, I'm a guy that shoots for the top. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to try to get the as many guests as possible. And I'm going to pick from where the buzz is. And many of them have been, a couple of times I've had some engagements back and forth with them where scheduling didn't work out or some shit like that. And it's okay. These are all people that you've heard of. And I will not mention any of them. A couple of them have just straight up, like, I've seen that they've read my message and then did nothing. In fact, I've had guests on in the past that are close to these other folks. And they're like, I can talk to them for you. I was like, don't. I want these guests to be on because they want to be on Jigs and Bigs.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any advice when it comes to guests, it's casting a net. When you're casting a net and you're collecting bait, you're not looking at each individual shad going like, nah, you know what I mean? Like, it's just casting a net. What you get, which is what you get, and you'll make the best of it. Eventually, we'll figure it out.
I think part of it has to do too. Like, you can't take guests saying no personally anymore because there's a gajillion podcasts that are asking them at any given time to come on, and they're like, dude, I am on the road all the time. I haven't seen my family in 3 weeks. Like, I don't have an hour. Like, I get it all the time too. They're like, I don't have an hour and a half to be on a podcast. Like, I get it. Like, I don't blame you. I probably wouldn't want to either. So at this point, like, it was a very different world 5 years ago than it is now. Like, you could get guests way easier because it just wasn't as crowded of a space, and it was more of a novel thing. Be like, oh yeah, sure. Like, most of them had either never done one or had only done one or two ever. And so it was still new enough that people would say yes. And now I think it's harder and harder to get, especially big name people you've heard of, because now not only are they getting asked by people like us, but every sponsor that they have has their own podcast now. All of their buddies have a podcast now. Like, there's literally 10,000 of them, and it's so saturated that the guests are just like, dude, I don't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Gussie won the Classic, and I was talking to him after the fact. And like from that moment, we on our show had decided, because at that point, to Andrew's point, there was way less saturation at the time where you could like get winners on in decent time to do a post-win show if you wanted to. We stopped that cold turkey for the pure fact of like listening about the frustration. I think Gussie did over 100 podcasts after he won the Classic, and every single one was the same line of questioning. And while that might seem like a negative, it kind of goes back to the point I was talking about earlier. Is take a different route than what a lot of people are doing, and you'll be a lot easier to stand out. And also, too, you can take a totally different route of like, if something as simple as, instead of getting the winners on, we get the guys on that get second or third because they get totally outcasted basically after a finish like that. And kind of get
no one remembers second.
Mm-hmm.
No one remembers second. No,
Yep.
I'm sorry. I just had to say that. Sorry.
You're right. You ain't first, you're last.
I was second. I was second once. No one remembers second. All right.
But that's a good point by Bailey too. It's like you have to zig while everybody else sags, because there's so many people zigging right now. Like there's it's more crowded than it ever has been. It's just going to continue to get more crowded. So that goes back to like the very first thing we talked about. It's just like finding unique angles to shows and finding things that other people aren't doing. And it's more fun to do that too. Like, it's more fun to do a very original, very new kind of take a chance thing than it is to just rinse and repeat what 50 other people are doing.
Best compliment I've ever gotten from a guest has been like, wow, that's an interesting question. That's random or something like that. And I'm like, that lets you know that like I'm definitely being authentic. That was Drake.
No, I thought that was your soundboard. I was like, you got to park now?
That was authentic.
Yeah.
I thought he was getting New Jersey.
Oh my God.
Every person that walks by the RV, he goes absolutely bananas. It's the biggest pain in it, but
It's relatable.
At least you didn't get Daytoned. Me, Matt, and James might have guns.
Yeah, we've been getting
Daytoned
Daytoned all night.
Close
but
enough.
we specifically avoided Ohio. You know, I drove like an extra 2 hours just to not have to touch Ohio.
See, it's not just me. It's not
Great
just
choice.
I love it.
we also drive hours away not to drive through Ohio.
Yes. So, what's next, boys? What's on the agenda? What's the list?
So the next thing I think I would ask about, because even Dave, you brought it up, is burnout. How do you guys like keep the think tank going?
Drugs.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I'm not gonna lie to you. No, I think creativity, like you've gotta live it. You know what I mean? Like when you're creating content of any kind, like there's a part of you, like it would be a luxury to put it in a compartment and go and like put it on like a hat and go like, now I'm gonna be creative. But there's always an element of it that like stays in you, and the littlest thing might just kind of occur while you're out fishing or creating content or having a conversation with somebody. And you gotta like get real comfortable with your notes app. on your phone and like just keep an ongoing list of stuff all the time. I just recorded with a guest this week. This is an episode I've always wanted to do. We have a biologist from Massachusetts, from Mass Wildlife. I bumped into them when they were going out to do a survey at a lake. They were electrofishing, and I just dropped the boat in the water. I tied off to the dock, and I'm like, I got to stay and talk to these guys. I got to find out. And I was just like, yeah, I want to stay out of your way. So like, whereabouts you going? And they told me. I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to go out to the main river then. And I brought up the podcast, and I just interviewed this guy here. And it's from what it sounds like, he had a decent enough experience where we're going to have him back on regularly to get more like New England centric information from like more of a research standpoint and conservation standpoint. So that could be pretty cool. But it's like, it's one of those things where if you just have to live it, and every little bit of inspiration that comes along, jot it down, try and remember it, and make it just authentically you, whatever that might be.
So I think we're like where Matt and James and like, you know, myself and Bobby have it a little bit better is there's two brains versus, you know, Dave, Andrew, and Bailey kind of, you know, doing their own thing. So, you know, Bobby and I are two completely different people. You know, we look at fishing completely different, and you know, it just meshes and it works. Like we have disagreements about like, hey, should we do this? Like, I don't know, and you know, we're constantly bouncing stuff off one another. So that definitely helps, because you know, there's times where I've seen where Bobby's just, you can tell he's just kind of defeated and you know, whatever. So I try to pick him up and vice versa. So definitely, that's where we have it a little bit better. And, you know, Andrew, Bailey, and Dave are they kind of got to pick themselves up, but definitely use that, having two brains.
Yeah, I think
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna thank Joe for assuming that I had a brain up here.
And say it might be one brain
Hey,
between
I
the
might
two
be
of us.
just one conjoined glob.
Works better that way. But yeah, I'd say too, like burnout is going to happen. It's more of a when, not a if. And usually for me, it's when I have a lot going on at one point, like whether it's, you know, travel while keeping up with the pod and also doing social media and work, and all that comes together. It can be overwhelming. One thing that has been a solution that we have found is if time is your reason for burnout, is if you can try to batch record. And what that means is like do 2 or 3 shows. If you only put out one a week, do 2 or 3 shows on a Saturday morning, whatever, and then schedule them out. Because then the next 3 weeks you don't have to do anything, and that can give you the time to, like, instead of time where you go podcast is downtime for yourself where you can recoup and refresh. That is a huge one that can be a benefit, especially if you're on the road a lot or you have a lot of things conflicting. And then another thing that's really helped me from the start and continues to be the thing I lean on every single day is your network, your circle of people. Like having that, whether it's to bounce ideas off of or just if you need to pick me up, like Andrew's one of them, like somebody to bounce something off of, somebody to give you a little bit of a push, like building your circle and people you trust to open up with, like that helps, not just in podcast, that goes for everything, but that can help big time.
Yeah, I think you have to find something that geeks you out. Like, so I talked earlier, it's like sometimes I just have to switch up how I do the show. Like that's the burnout. Like I feel like I'm in a rut. I feel like I've gotten to the same thing over and over again, and I just need to completely switch it up. So about once a year, maybe once every other year, the format of the show almost completely switches up, and we'll do different types of segments for that year and try and keep it a little bit fresh. But like for me, the thing that geeks me out that I just love coming back to and I love doing, and no matter how burnt out I get, I still really enjoy doing it, is like my thing is common sense gear reviews. Like I love nothing more than, and no matter how much gear I try, and there will always be new gear to try, I love the idea of buying a piece of gear, actually buying it, and then going out and saying, you know, hey, there's 10,000 people on the internet right now that are on this pro staff that are saying this is the best thing to ever come out because they're told to. I can't wait to go out and use this hard and find the things I don't like about it.
Yeah.
Like that's really fun to me because every product has its warts. Everything is going to have something, like reviews should be a balance. And that's where I think it's fun. I think it's fun to like buy something. I paid the price of admission to say what I want about it. And I get to say, yeah, here's the 4 things I do like, but here's the 3 things I don't. And that's just a really fun thing for me and the way my brain is wired. I enjoy doing that. The other thing is, like Bailey said, when you batch record, I don't do it too often, but you can tell when I'm getting burnt out because I'll do one of those mini series. I just did one like a month ago where you can record everything and then you do have about a month because I do 4-part series and they're once a week. So you get a month to kind of regroup. And I came back that episode back after that mini series just revitalized and like ready to go. Sometimes you do need that just reset. Now, the one thing that comes back to, though, we talked about earlier about consistency. I think when you need a break, what makes like a really great show is you do what Bailey said, and you take a break without taking a break. You don't just shut off the podcast for 2 weeks, because as soon as someone finds something else to fill that hole in their day that they used to use your show for, you're done. They've moved on and now they have a new routine and they found something different and they are switching things up. You have to maintain your spot in their routine and their rotation. So you have to be strategic about how you take breaks, not just say, oh, I'm feeling burnt out, I'm going to take like 3 weeks off. You have to, find ways to get through that 3 weeks smartly so that you can get back to feeling right again. I think we all get burned out. I get burned out every week. When I'm sitting there and editing at, 1 a.m. on a Monday night, I'm burnt out after working 15 hours that day at work. But just because you're burnt out doesn't mean that you don't love it. Like, I still love doing it, but I can also be like, oh my God, I'm on, hour 23 of being awake and my eyes are falling asleep. But you power through that part because you do love it. Burnout doesn't mean you're ready to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of seconding what he says, except for don't do what I do, because I do take breaks. I don't take breaks on purpose. I just get really busy with life and the kids, and we don't have family out here to help. So I have to life, and that I don't. If you guys take anything from this exact question, batch record. Like, I should be doing it. I'm trying to do it. This is one of them, by the way. I'm trying to do it as well, but do that, because what ends up happening is, like he said, you'll have a great community going, and then the moment you ease off the gas a little bit, the community starts to evaporate slowly but surely.
One of the best things I ever did is I always have an ice episode loaded up just in case, like in case of emergency. So I have one ready to go and you have to be disciplined. You can't say, well, I'm feeling lazy this week, I just want to use that one and throw it out. Like, you do have to keep it in the hopper. But a good example is like, we had a surprise, our baby came early. So you're like, okay, boom, hit that, because the baby came, of course, on a Monday night. And you're like, well, all right, here we go. So you have that episode ready to go. Always have one like in the chamber just in case, so that if life does happen, you can. That's like one of the best things I think I ever did. And just make it something that's not, dated, or it doesn't have to do with something super current, and you can just do more of like an episode that could live at any time and just have it ready to go. That's helped a lot.
We do something similar with that. Like, when we get really busy and we can't find time, because as you guys are probably already learned, is scheduling is the hardest part of podcasting. Is this obviously helps the longer you do it. But what we've done is taken old episodes that had really great information, because every year you do it, you're going to accrue new listeners that likely haven't heard your 100th episode when you're on 600 now. And so we'll take 10 minutes, film a new intro, outro, and save them, because they can just be a general topic. Save them so that, like Andrew said, on weeks that you're busy, you can't film, and you want to stay consistent, you just click publish on it, and you don't have to worry about filming something new. We got like 10 of those. We went to the point now, if this helps generate ideas, but we went to older popular topics that are becoming relevant again, especially like after a big tournament win. And if that hits, then you drop it immediately, because that's buzzword stuff. But we got a stockpile of those, but that can help big time. So as the further you go on, think of that too. Like, that was a pretty dang good episode. Save it, like Bobby was saying with your notes app, save that. And then you can just download it, film a new intro, outro, whatever, and have it in your stockpile ready to go if you need it.
Joe, anything on burnout? Just don't show up to the show.
I already went, dog. That's what I said. Have two. It's easy to have two brains that kind of work on each other. But
okay, yeah. All right.
He just wanted to talk about you not showing up. That's it.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that
Yeah,
jab in
just
there. That's
wanted to
really
throw
all it
that
was.
in.
You know, it goes perfectly with like the climate of what the show has been like the last like month too. So
It's been going in the PG seat significantly. I feel terrible. I'm like,
yeah.
although I don't think we have any FTGs that involve you, Joe, this week at all. So I think we've weathered the storm.
Not yet.
You would never think that one of the co-hosts has the record for being the one who has the most FTGs called in on him.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh.
I don't know.
all right, boys, floor is yours.
You know what I just realized? Joe, especially Joe, we've had everybody here on the show except Andrew.
Just say you don't like me, dude. It's fine.
No. We need immediately. Like
that'll be the end of your show, bro.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for.
I don't think a beat segment's going to do. I think we just have to have Andrew co-host with us.
I'm the Grim Reaper of podcasts. I show up and then it's just it's like that meme where he goes door to door to door.
Yeah.
Canceled.
What happened to Jigs and Bigs? Oh, didn't you hear?
You know,
They had a haze on.
tackle stop.
Yeah.
The tackle talk effect. Matt James? Got any more questions, bud?
Yeah,
No, we got some more.
gotta wait for the mouse to wake up. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
We talked a little about fishing content. I know some of you do content outside the podcast. How do you balance just fishing for fun as opposed to fishing to make content? Or do you always fish for content?
I love that.
Always be recording, man. Always be recording.
Opposite.
Yeah.
Hard
I knew this was
opposite.
gonna be a fun one.
I recently changed. I was recording everything and trying to put out fishing content on YouTube weekly, especially during like the hot months when that was happening. And just this year, I was like, I'm not going to do that because I've actually seen more growth on YouTube just putting out the stuff that I really want to or am passionate about. And now in the last couple of years, YouTube does this thing. I don't think a lot of people realize this because there is this confusion with podcasts. How come there's no video? Or, you know what I mean? Podcasting at the core originally was an audio platform. So we dump our show. YouTube's got the ability to take your RSS, drop it in there, and the audio will show up with the artwork. And the growth we have seen there is ridiculous. And it took a good 14 or 15 months before there was an upswing. But now we're probably seeing about 10% of our listens coming from YouTube. And I know Zach is probably about 3% of those alone because that's his preferred platform is YouTube when he's at the Dark Horse shop and he's doing all of his stuff. But when it, as far as like, that bong hit was a bad idea. I'm going to tell you guys.
Content.
It was a bad idea. Where was somebody will catch me up to speed? What was the point?
Content.
Changing content.
Like videoing yourself fishing and stuff.
Like I would say, I think I've kind of changed what I do. I always have my cameras on and rolling, especially like the widest angle one, because you never know when something great's going to happen. But it can be used for something else. But I don't put the pressure on of like, okay, guys, we're doing no. You know what I mean? It's just not worth it. Tomorrow, I have to go out and record some stuff for ARC. I got a couple of their reels, the Gravity 3s, and they're great. But I want to do like a detailed breakdown of the stuff. And I'm like, it's beautiful. I'm just going to record it on the boat. I've got my notes app. I'll just go ahead and do the reads sitting on the boat and then edit it all together. Hopefully I can, it's top water day tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping. So hopefully they cooperate.
I'd say if it's your goal to make content, I would always, and you have the ability, you have the cameras and the battery power. I would say if you have the ability, always record because like Bobby said, you never know when something cool is going to happen. Granted, that's part of my main job is being a content creator now. I'm one of those goobers. But like what I'll do, if that's your goal, I always set aside at least like 30 minutes to try to like do some sort of idea out there. But otherwise it's just record your day, whatever you do, and then take from that day and create some content out of it. that makes sense. The easiest way to create content is just always be recording. That's the biggest thing.
All right, let me hit you with a little Dayton to Dayton boys here. All right, with the GoPros.
The local.
No, I'm just kidding,
This is
but
legit.
kind of. Like, so there's like multiple ways to skin a cat here, obviously, and everybody has very different what they want to get out of fishing. So you guys will understand this because you fish around here. Everybody, this region, this like southern Ohio region, is extremely protective of water, of areas and spots, because we fish small water. We fish small rivers, small creeks. It takes one person to show up tomorrow to ruin that pocket that you were fishing that day. It takes, one YouTube video to completely ruin a, half-mile stretch of the river, because we're talking about a river that you can cast across, that you are realistically fishing in a pool of smallmouth that has like 25 smallmouth in it. Like, we're not talking giant, huge biomass bodies of water here. So one of the reasons I actually decided to do podcast way back in the day was because I didn't want to video myself fishing. Like, I'm super protective of every picture I take. I literally put them in, Photoshop, and I will change the background so they look like a normal photo, but the blurred background is not even from where the photo was taken, because you just have to be so protective. And so that's why I love podcasts. It's a way to get that, like, to scratch that fishing media itch that I have, while still never having to show people where I fish, never having to burn water or burn spots. And it's a very regional thing here, but we have to be so protective of where you fish. So that's what always drew me to podcasts. That's why you'll never catch me with a GoPro on my kayak ever. You'll never catch me with a chesty on ever. Like, I don't even own a working GoPro. So it's what you want out of it. I enjoy photography. So if I do catch a memorable fish, or I have a memorable moment, like I can snap a picture that will last a lifetime. But the video side of things, I like if I'm out there, that catches between me and nature.
Was that a double mic?
Can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We've been dating.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear
I
you.
got a double mic on. So this is my audio. I'll fix it. Continue.
Can you hear me now?
Hold on a second.
Echo. Oh man. Now I can hear you. Oh no. Is that what you had to listen to?
Yes.
Yeah, there's like two Andrews for a minute.
Oh no.
Now I got two, everybody.
And 2 days, yeah.
I thought this was a podcaster show.
Hey. That is what it is. And this is real life. This happens all the time.
This is just how the juice.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
There you go. Joe, do you have anything on content? Because I know that you're out there doing a lot of stuff with Fish or Die and for yourself now. So
Yeah, so I was that person that, specifically was like, okay, I'm going to make a video on this today, and I'm going to make a video on this tomorrow. And that's where it started to feel like it was work versus enjoying the fishing. And like Bailey said, I kind of just started just filming just putting a couple cameras on the boat, and whatever happens. And that's kind of what I've done of late, because I'm a bit. A lot of the times what I end up doing is I'll get the boat out there, I'll throw down the trolling motor, and I'll like start casting before I even set up any cameras. Then I'm just like, oh well, they're chasing, they're biting. Like, I'll hook up the camera later, and then I just never end up doing it, kind of deal. But it's kind of like why I kind of chilled out with doing tournaments this year. Like, it was stopping the fishing from being like as fun as I wanted it to be. So just like Bailey said again, I started just kind of filming everything, and if I could put something together, great. If I can't, great. At least I have the footage for TikTok or YouTube or whatever. So
yes,
I could talk production all day long. So like when can you guys hear me? Am I
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That was me, by the way. I had to exit and then come back and fix everything. But when it comes to with me and production, like having something to record with, and even if that means it's your phone, is more handy. It allows you to kind of capture something in that moment. Like there was a slot series tournament that I was fishing with a buddy of mine, and the weather was terrible, so I didn't set the cameras up because I don't want everything to get rained on and my mics to get ruined or anything like that. And then later in the day, things started to kind of pick up and the weather got a little bit better. There was no rain. And even then, I was just like, I'm just going to record this stuff on my phone and make the best of it, not worry about it a whole lot. But if you have something in place that's ready to go that you can just go and hit play, whatever angle it is, you've at least captured it.
I pick days. I pick days that I'm going to record, and I pick days that are just for me. I have to. Like we all know I have like not necessarily a split personality, but I'm also wild, and then I'm docile at the same time. And so the days where I decide like I'm going to record today, like I want to go out and record. I don't care if I catch 11-inch fish all day. I'm going to record. There's plenty of stuff there's so much beauty out there. I'm going to a different spot. I want to, have that memory that I can show my kids, et cetera, et cetera. That's why I'm recording, I put it on the YouTube sometimes. Sometimes I just leave it on my drive here on the computer and let my kids watch it later. It's not a big deal. It's just if they want to watch me fishing, which is most of the time they will just want to watch Bluey. But I do yeah, me too, honestly. But I do have those days where like I have a kayak that I literally took all the mounts off, all the camera mounts, no camera mounts on this kayak, nothing. There's no power on this kayak. It is just me. And I take that one out. And it's my little river kayak. I just go out and I do my thing. And that's for me. Sometimes I'll invite buddies and sometimes I just go by myself. That's just that fishing days for me. I just need that as a human, like as a person. So yeah. And I always catch like really big fish. And then I have to take a picture on my phone and get pissed that I didn't have it on camera. But still, it's for me, So blank.
It's funny. It's funny because I have like 10 rods sitting here next to the bed in the RV because I keep hearing about how these fish are because we're staying at the Disney campground. I keep hearing how these fish are in here. So hopefully I'll get a little content out of that.
Yes. The content of you sleeping with your rods alone is like perfect. Just
a separate Patreon.
Yeah.
My wife's been sitting sleeping in the passenger seat. My rods are in her spot.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh. All right, boys, get that mouse ready. What do we got?
My next one I had was, what do you think is some of the most time-consuming parts of making podcast episodes that you think most listeners don't even think about? Because I think most listeners think the editing part takes a lot of time, which James does all the editing on our end, but I'm kind of like the think tank. So I kind of like try to keep the ideas flowing. And I don't know. I always argue that my part's the hardest, and then he always argues that his part's the hardest.
Scheduling is the hardest part of podcasting. I'll take that to the grave.
Agreed.
It's pretty rough.
Scheduling and like, the creative element of like, okay, so what the hell are we going to talk about? I'll tell you where it's the worst is in like January.
Yeah.
We don't ice fish much at all. I don't even know if that audience really exists necessarily. And it's just another like expense. So that's where like we really have to push and get creative. And that's honestly, a lot of people slow down that time of year. So actually January into February, we rely a lot on expos for a lot of like the experience stuff to kind of like talk about the new stuff that's out there and all that. It's but scheduling is tough because that's also like that's where I try to take trips in the winter, go down south, do that. I'm trying to do more of that. So getting that, to happen can be the biggest challenge, but scheduling like overall.
Yeah.
100%.
The editing part, that's pretty, at least for how we do things, is editing is the fastest part. Honestly, it takes longer for us to download the actual local recordings to do the editing. That takes longer.
True.
Yeah.
See, that's why I record the audio locally. I don't have to wait for that.
Well, it's guess. Guess is the hardest locals to get from, especially the ones that do it on their phone and then it fails. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Record on a DAW. So like the audio that comes in, I'm like, just take out the card, boom. Because I've done that before. And you're right, Bailey, that sucks. You're waiting and waiting and waiting.
See, yeah, we're gonna have a conversation after this to make my life easier.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So Bobby's lying a little bit. So the two hardest parts of Bobby's podcasting are one, getting his co-host me to even show up,
That was what I was going to say.
and two, for him to hit the effing record button.
It's actually only happened 3 times since the beginning of the show. 330 episodes, 3 times. It's like 1%.
That's good
Hit
average.
record, guys.
I'll
Start
take
over.
There was one night that
Recently,
I told the same 25-minute long story 3 times. Three times.
Gosh.
well,
Oh,
let me explain. So it wasn't the all like that I didn't hit record. The issue was we were trying to
Oh,
stream.
that's right. It was, yeah.
So the first 2, like the dropouts were just so long. I was like, let's abandon the live stream. Well, the jigheads understand. We're going to do the Monday live stream. In fact, I think Matt watched that next week's live stream on Patreon. But so we had like 2 false starts go through. And then there was, the second time I was like, oh shit, you know what helped, Joe? If I hit record.
Oh God. And I'd already started drinking, so I'm just like, oh my God. I was fresh off the St. Lawrence River, so I was just like, I just want to go back.
It was rough. Those Frankenstein episodes can be a challenge, like the editing for that. But I've gotten to a point where I've got a process that I just handle. Like I would say the biggest challenge of the way that I edit is juggling when there's so many different segments and it looks like a multi-track, like Grammy Award winning album. And you're like, what the hell is happening here? And you're just scrolling all over the place at your work. It's crazy, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Scheduling's always hard in the very beginning for me, at least for me personally. In the very beginning, it was hard to ask guests. It was like, I'm not gonna. It was scary. Even people that I know, like Bobby, Joe, Andrew, Bailey, everybody on the show right now, has been on at one point or another. And it was like every time it's like you're going to ask a girl out on a date real quick, and she's either gonna say no or yes. You know what I'm saying? Now, I did grow up. I'm used to rejection. I'm quite used to look at my face. I'm very used to rejection at this point in my life. But it was still one of those things where I'm like, I have this thing, my heart's in it, and I feel like nobody may ever like this thing, but I love it, and that's okay if nobody ever likes it. I love it. I love doing it, and I love finding out more about people. And so that's my personal drive for it. And so when I would put like my baby out there, like my little soul child out there, to be like, hey, would you like to come on and like maybe like come on the show one time or something, I'd appreciate it. And like it took a minute for me to be like, all right, cool, the worst thing they're gonna say is no, but it did take a minute. Like it was difficult in the beginning. Now it's just trying to find the time to do it. But yes, in the beginning it was guests was my big hurdle. So
yeah, I think mine, the biggest part for me is what I do before the mic even like gets turned on. Like it takes forever. I posted a picture like 2 weeks ago of what my notes look like before I start recording an episode. It's like 20 pages and like 10,000 words before I write a full, tenth of a book before I even start recording an episode, because it's just my process. It's just how I do things. I want to make sure that like when I start to record, I have my thoughts laid out. I know exactly where I'm going to go, and it sounds like I've said this before, but you almost want it to not like a newscast, because that's not the right way to put it. But you know how like when you watch the news, there's a teleprompter there. So I'm not doing that, but I mean, there's structure. There's a pre-produced show that you're just executing. So I like that side of things, because then I know the information that I want to be in that episode will be in that episode in the right spot. I've thought it through, and you get really strategic with it. Like that's just how I prefer to do things. So I bet I've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours probably in an episode before I even start recording.
Dude.
I'm just a sociopath, I
Dude,
guess. but
I love
that's
it
what-
though. Hey, are you gonna keep all those? Do you keep all those notes? Like because you could literally write a book and then like eventually put it out there, just like
The biggest
all the
book in
early
the world,
shows.
bro.
A transcript of well, yeah, I mean, you got what? Let's see, 10,000 words times 353. Yeah, I got 3,530,000 words. I don't know, whatever that is. How many words are on a page? 150. That's 23,000 pages.
Just wrote knowing Bass too. just
Yeah.
out of your notes.
I have it. It's behind this wall of cardboard, but I have knowing Bass back there.
I think I have less words in my entire 600 episodes of an outline than you do in one episode.
It's just how I do it, man.
With you, Bailey.
My outline looks like guest is Andrew. Ask why fish. Where? Dates. Done.
I guess it's different though, because if you had to sit down and you had to do an hour by yourself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like trying to fill an
that's-
hour of you talking to yourself with no pauses and like structure the entire time is so much more content than you think. It's so much more words and thoughts and like all that together. So I just don't trust myself to like turn on a microphone and be like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to fill an hour here by myself if I haven't thought it through yet.
Bailey, you're kind of sampling that right now though, right? You're doing the Lure Lab stuff, right?
Yeah, that's like 15 minutes or less. Just talk to a camera, go. And the only editing is just take out the dead space and just let it rip.
Do you just pick a bait up from your desk and be like, this is what we're talking about?
There's some of that. And then there's like taking people's ideas or ideas I have and then try to put myself in the opposite shoes of them. Kind of like how Andrew was talking about earlier, is like,
Yeah.
Get all these pros talking about this bait. Let's go talk about how it sucks. And
Yeah.
like just do the total flip of it. But that's just ideation. Yeah, that has been one thing that I found, that getting guests is a lot easier with that format, because at least for us under our network, it's really hard because like I wish I could be a millionaire and tell guests like, yeah, I'll pay you for your time, because I generally do feel bad. Some of these guys are so busy that it's like hard to like ask them to, hey, can I have at least 30 minutes of your time? And then you'd be like, I have this other show. Can we also get you? It becomes hard. So it's like what we've done with that one is I'll just shoot them a text, be like, hey, I'm going to plan to put this video out in 2 weeks on, I'll just put an example. I call Jacob Fouts. I'm like, hey, I'm doing something on 2026 best minnows. Can you shoot me a 1 minute or less horizontal iPhone video of your go-to with setup, whatever? Just walk through it for me. It can be 20 seconds. It's way hell of a lot easier to add that in, because then when you film it, you're like, if you don't believe me, listen to this pro angler. And then you just insert their clip and then it's done. Then they don't have to sit for 30, 45 minutes and do that twice on multiple different shows. It's a little bit easier to ask, but
That's such a good idea. I've heard that before. Like I hate all the motivational like Gary V type people. I've never been like that type of person. But one thing that he said like a long time ago, I think it was him. One of those people was like, you're never gonna get so and so on your episode for an hour and a half. Like Beyonce is not coming on your podcast for an hour and a half, but you have like a
That's next
5% chance of getting a 10-second clip from her to answer some question that you emailed her PR team. Like that, if you can do short clips and short snippets and stuff that respect their time a little better, to Bailey's point, you probably have a lot better chance of getting, and you can still say they're in your episode. They're just in your episode for 2 minutes, not 2 hours. Like
right.
It doesn't have to be. Yeah. I like that idea.
Technology is amazing. Like there's so much that you can do. It's the difficult thing is like harnessing like all of the reach that you have. So like using a clip like that, and editing that, or if there's something that you do in your show regularly, like there's one of the things I've been trying to do in the last year is I'm trying to be a little bit more aware that somebody who's listening to this podcast this might be the first episode they're hearing. So I want to make sure that they know and understand what this is necessarily. And I had been doing this spiel about like connecting with us on social media, how important rating the show is, all of the details, like if you want information on the tournament series, all that stuff together. And granted, some of that stuff does change over like a few months, but generally it doesn't. So I think the idea of like recording like something like that and then editing it in slick so that it's there, we just pick it up. So when the jig heads are watching, they're not listening to all that stuff. They don't have to waste, and it kind of values the listener's time as well. And if they're familiar with it, they can hit 15 seconds and get past it.
I got a question. Matt and James. I love your guys' show. I love how you guys have broken it down. You guys have the guest. You guys have a couple little segments, like stuff like that. Like, what was the initial like desire to start the show? Like, are you fulfilling that desire, or is it just something that it's growing into its own animal already?
I would say it's fitting the desire. I came to James with the idea of basically making something that got our faces in the fishing community. The only things I could think of was some kind of content, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Instagram, and then I thought of podcast because in my job, I have a lot of listening time. So I've listened to every episode of every single buddy in here. And I was like, well, shoot, I have the gift of gab, as I've heard from some people. I'll just sit here and I can bullshit. So I asked James, I said, hey, would you like to make a podcast? He originally said, no, I don't want to do it. He's like, I can edit it for you. Like, I'll take that off your hands. And I looked at him and I said, well, I'm pretty sure I told you this. I'm no Tackle Talk. I'm no Andrew Hayes. I cannot sit here and just talk by myself. I need somebody to like bounce things off of. And that's when another good buddy of mine kind of jumped in for a little bit. And out of nowhere, James was like, nah, dog, I'm in. Literally like 2 days later, like he had to sleep on it kind of a thing. And then we kind of just started from there. And it's kind of like, we found our groove. Like you kind of listen, you kind of watch to see what people react to. The guests do really well for us. And it's been super fun because I think we've done a pretty good job of getting guests on that I don't want to say a lot of people may have heard from, but some people may have never even heard of.
Everybody knows the homeless fisherman.
Yes. Yes. That was my favorite guest that we were able to get on. But like we had Knowles Fishing, which some people don't know. We had David Lee on. And it's almost become now that I enjoy the guest episodes because one, I get to learn more about the guest, and two, selfishly, I don't have to try to come up with an entire idea for an episode. Me and James, it's just kind of like, we always like to do our fishing, like what we've done that week in fishing, just because then it gives us a moment to like geek out and talk about our fishing week. Bobby made a mention about like January and whatnot when the time of year up here in Ohio, the lakes are frozen and we don't really ice fish. We do what we like to call the Donk Express. So we just literally spend all of our money on fishing stuff and we talk about it. So it was just kind of like implementing things like that and seeing what worked. But so far, the thing that's really worked really well for us is guests. And I think that's been a really fun avenue to start going down for us.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, and it's your turn to ask a question.
Oh, it's back to me now?
Yeah, it's back to you now.
It's back to me now. Okay. I want to ask, because this was something I had a problem with in the beginning. So like in the beginning, me and James would listen to the episodes after they actually would come out. The way we looked at it was, one, we would get a listen, and two, we got to at least kind of double check ourselves and kind of really listen to what we sound like. I want to know, does it ever get easier hearing your own voice?
Absolutely.
Nope.
No.
I
I
despise
was hoping
my
that wasn't
voice.
it.
It 100% does. And I say this because I'm on a microphone 6 days a week, live in front of people. So it does. If the amount of time you have to be on the microphone is ridiculous. But it does. It takes I've been a wedding DJ since 1993. You know what I mean? Like, some of you guys weren't born then. I don't think Bailey was born then. So
1993.
Yeah, 1993, dude. I was what, 16? Like,
well,
So it's
okay.
gonna be one of those, like, everybody raise your hand if you were alive kind of a thing.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. But like, it takes forever to actually get comfortable with it. Like, when I worked in television, I did some voiceover work for like local commercials and things.
Mhm.
And it was one of these things where I was just like, I hate my voice, man. I'm like, wow. And everybody would tell me, you sound like you should be on the radio. And I'm just like, for me, it used to be like, I'll give you a perfect example. In like the late 90s, it was my buddy and I would do like a wedding, and the wedding introductions would start where you would introduce the bridal party and everything. And I was like, I would literally have to like pretend that I was in like a phone booth and I just couldn't see anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it was just crazy. Now I'll have people and I'll just grab the microphone and just talk. Like, it's not even a thing. But the road it takes to get there, to get that comfortable, is awkward, and it takes forever.
I say for
Okay,
some people too, it's like you might not like it, but to Bobby's point, you might be more comfortable with it. Where I'm comfortable hearing my voice, but it's still like there's still part of me that's like listening to a chalkboard and like scratching a chalkboard. My wife's favorite prank on me is when I least expect it. She'll put one of my YouTube videos on our TV full blast because she knows I hate hearing my voice, and she loves doing that.
Real one.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
That's like worst nightmare.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Boys, also take Bobby's answer with a grain of salt, because if you hear all of us, welcome Armando. How's it going, buddy?
What's up, everyone?
How's it going?
Hey.
If you listen to all of our voices and then listen to Bobby's voice, I would never get tired of hearing Bobby's voice either. Like, I'm okay with Bobby's voice all the time.
He always asks me, he's like, "Hey, did you go back and hear this part of the show?" And I'm like, nope. Because I don't want to go back and hear myself. You know what I mean? I'm like, he's always like, "Oh, did you hear that one?" I'm like, nope.
If we mess up something on our show, it's because a listener told us, because I can tell you in 600 plus episodes, I've never listened back to one of them.
Same. By the time I'm done editing it, I never want to hear that episode again.
You know what's funny is like when for me, it was the accent. It's just like Spanish, English is not my first language, and I hate, especially when I get my thoughts are not organized. I'll do the so many times, like after each sentence. So I listened to one of my, at the beginning, to Andrew and Tackle Talk podcast, and that got me like, I don't want to do a podcast, like, because Andrew is so. And I'd say this in a great way, in a complimentary way, like so obsessed with perfection, and everything on his podcast is so perfect as far as structure and the voice and everything. So, by the way, Bobby, your voice is amazing. So I don't know what you're talking about over there, but to me, it was like, damn, like he's so good at it. He's so obsessed with that I was conscious about it. But then, funny enough, somebody that I have a lot of love and respect for. Do you remember Josh Smith from the Dark Wars? Dark Water?
Dark Waters. Yep.
Yes. So Josh is like, and Josh was one of the person that contacted me once I announced that I was going to start doing a podcast. But then I got cold feet because, again, I was so self-conscious about how my voice sounds and my accent and not being that fluent in English. But I would listen to Josh. It's like, yeah, if this guy's doing a podcast, and I say that in a funny way because he would stutter and he would be all over the place, and it was so funny. It's so different from what Andrew does, but at the same time, at the height of it, Josh was probably one of the most successful and widely listened podcasts about kayak fishing.
Yeah.
So you have both aspects of it. You have Andrew, who does amazing, and it's such a perfectionist about it. And then you had Josh, who couldn't care less how much he stuttered or how he sounded, and yet both were very successful. Are successful, at least in Andrew's case.
So it's absolutely rude of me, and I extremely apologize. Matt and James have a podcast. It's called Small Ponds, Big Dreams. Matt and James, this is Armando Sola from Bass Kayak and Beers. Introductions.
Pleasure, John, gentlemen.
Yeah, I try
Nice
and
to
keep everybody on the tip. And Matt and James are kind of running through questions because they have a newer show, and they're kind of running through questions, and they have, trying to figure out exactly placement and stuff like that in their show, like burnout, all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting, actually. So next question, sir.
That's on you, man. You're next.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned I do the editing, so I kind of mostly in charge of most of the equipment for the podcast itself. And so was kind of curious of you guys, what is your most important piece of podcasting equipment? So we're getting out of fishing equipment, but your actual podcasting equipment to you, that once you got it and started using it, that you couldn't believe you weren't using it before?
Yeah.
Headphones.
Yep.
Headphones. 100%. I could talk about gear all day long. Like I'm recording right now on a Rodecaster Pro 2. Hate it. It's going. When I started, I was recording on an old Zoom H4 and a small mixer with literally any dynamic microphone, because I live in a busy neighborhood. So having a crazy condenser is not the best move. So having like just a dynamic mic that's tuned the right way, adjust the gain. I do everything outboard, all of it. And I don't rely on any kind of like noise reduction or anything like that. But there's tech out there that you can get really good sound with. The thing is that I found that headphones were the game changer, because what it does is it isolates the loop. You know, you don't have that audio from an external speaker there, and you're able to get the gain on the mic where you need it to be, where it's not picking up that other stuff. And the headphones help you so much with keeping it together. Plus, and this goes back to like what we were talking about before, hating the sound of your voice. Having that audio in your ears as you're speaking live lets you know where you are in relation to the microphone, if you need to speak, quieter or louder or whatever. It keeps you in tune with what you're doing. I recorded with Johnny Muzz from New Brunswick, Canada last week. And I recorded, because of the time and my ridiculous schedule, getting back to scheduling, I recorded on my laptop, plugged my headphones into my laptop, and I had one of my mics that I use when I do YouTube content. And I did that, and I couldn't hear myself back, and man, it sucked. It was ridiculous, because I really just didn't have a good grasp on what this sounded like until afterwards. But yeah, I think headphones are like the biggest thing, with a cable.
Yeah.
Even better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bling, bling, bling. Bailey?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of headphones personally, but I'm probably the least qualified tech person to ask in here. When it comes to like creating content, I can go that route for you, but headphones is listen to these guys more than me when it comes to the equipment part, because mine is screwing up constantly. And like I just told Bobby we need to have a conversation after this so that I can understand how to use my equipment smarter. But headphones.
I've been trying to get you to do this for years.
but you're from Ohio, so he doesn't want to hear it. That's his problem.
Oh, yeah. Anyone from Ohio, just ignore. Gear wise, I think just invest in a quality mic. I think that's the biggest thing I can add to it. But I just don't do the headphones because it gives me headaches. But probably don't have the right headphones, and we'll just stop there because nothing I'll add to this is productive.
I think it's your DAW, your workstation. So whatever you're recording on, I think is the most important piece. Like right now, I'm a physical gear type of guy. Like I love physical gear. So you can't hear it right now because I'm just going straight into my laptop because it wasn't working earlier. But when I record normally for my show, I run a microphone, a Shure SM7B, to a cloud lifter, to a Scarlett 18i20, to an old school like DBX 286S rack processor.
Can you translate that, please?
Yeah, like English. Like I love that stuff though, because I just love old school physical gear.
Yeah.
Like I like knobs. I like things I can touch and press and manipulate before it even hits the computer. But then like whatever you're using effects wise is so important nowadays, and you can get such good effects for no money. There's so many free plugins. Learn how to use plugins. Like learn how to go online and find a good noise suppressor and find a good compressor and all those type of things, a limiter, and figure out what those do, because once you get to that point, then you're taking something that could sound so just completely, terrible, and you can make it sound like you're in a $10,000 studio and you're not. You're at some, $80 Amazon desk like I am right now. So I think learning to use the back end digital effects side of things for people that are like on a budget is the best thing you can do.
And like Andrew, I love that you mentioned that, because I think one of the things, like, budget is huge. When I edit the show, I edit using Audacity, which is a free program, and it takes a little bit of like understanding how to use, but it's pretty basic. Once you get an idea of how it works, running, digital compressors and limiters and things like that, those are huge. That's kind of what gives you that broadcasty sparkle almost, like something like that. Tinkering around with it.
To add to that, I'll mention is, like, if you're new to this, you have to understand, and I say this with the utmost respect to both Bobby and Andrew, like these two gentlemen right here are the professional, the epitome of being professional on a podcast as far as bringing quality. Like Andrew's, if you have to, I would say, you have to understand that at what Andrew's level of knowledge of music and all that, don't let that discourage you, in the sense that I've tried to like do stuff like that, and then I realized I'm not wired that way. And you don't want to get to a point where you're frustrated because you can't match the quality of sound that other people are doing and all that, which is great, especially when you're, again, at the level of Tackle Talk podcast, Bailey Ike with the Serious Anglers, where now you're talking about, you're getting in contact with companies that are like Pure Fishing or Rapala, stuff like that. That's another level. But if you want to get to that, you have to understand that if that's what you want to do, then there's steps, and you need to, don't rush into it. Like, learn, like you say, and understand, like, all the advice that they're giving you, everybody's giving you, take it little by little until you build something. And along the way, you have to enjoy it. To me, I don't have the budget to spend on the equipment that these gentlemen that I just mentioned have. But then again, I understand that if I, one point, I want to get to that level, I will. So for me, it's more about budget and what I want to do with it. And first and foremost is have fun, not sponsorships, it's just talk to people, learn to fish. The whole reason why I started a podcast is to get Bailey to talk to me about fishing, to get tournament anglers to talk to me about fishing, so I can learn about fishing. And I wasn't really worried all that much, because I just wanted to learn. And I didn't have anybody around me that bass fish, not even kayak fish. So I needed to branch out. So I actually made a podcast just to get people to come talk to me. And then I would put that out. But really, it was just for me to learn. And as I've enjoyed it, one of the things that I do on my limited budget, and this may be bad advice, but I just use a Blue microphone. This headset that my wife gave me 10 years ago for anniversary. But then I rely a lot on editing software. And now with AI, like right now, I just finished recording a podcast, and I am going into Adobe it's $10 a month, but you can upload the sound in it, and it does the AI does a really great job of giving you decent audio that's still enjoyable for people to listen. And the reason why I don't spend a lot on is because I am doing interviews.
Yeah.
And like today, the guy that I interviewed, this guy with his iPhone, the quality of it is not going to be good. So 90% of my guests the quality of the audio is not going to be great. So it doesn't matter that I spend so much on a quality mic and all that, because I don't try to talk too much. I want my guests to talk. So the majority of the audio is going to come from my guests, and their quality is going to be bad. So instead of spending all that money in me, and again, this is just me, that's me actually may be bad advice. But I decided, like, no, I'm going to take the audio and I'm going to use this AI generated Adobe and stuff like that. After I listen to it a little bit, if I like it, then I'll go with it. If I feel like I need to tweak something, a lot of times my audience is going to have kids running around the house or their dog is barking. So all that stuff is like, to me, it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to spend too much in equipment, because more than half of the audio is going to be whatever the guest is. So it doesn't matter what my mic or my setup is. But I do agree with be comfortable with your desk and everything. Like, everything has to be that way. You're more comfortable to talk.
You make a great point Armando, with that, because I think that's the thing. A lot of people get caught up on gear, whether it's camera gear for like video content, or if it's, you know, podcasting gear, microphones and stuff like that. There's a couple of things. Like, technology's gotten to the point now where like you can get really amazing audio out of inexpensive microphones. You don't need a whole lot. And, you know, the other thing too is keep in mind what we're recording here. We're recording human voices, and people are going to listen back to this, not on like these crazy, you know, tube amplifiers, you know, where they're listening to like, you know, original press Beatles records or some shit. If anybody's recording at Abbey Road Studios, it's not because the show's that good. It's a flex. So the thing is, keep in mind what it is that we're making here. We're just making, you know, what you kind of want to have to do at the end of the day is have the voices be about the same level. And, you know, when you're taking a guest video, like there's been times I had to use Google Voice for a phone to record an interview segment because they were in such a weird area that there was no data. So I was like, all right, cool, just call me at this number. And the phone, that fidelity sucks, but we're humans. Every single one of us has lived in the phone age. So where did Joe go?
I think he had to go handle a dog.
He's there, but he's not.
It's a good point
there.
though. Like Armando said, the $99 Blue Yeti microphones are, I used one for the first like 4 years of this show is what I used, just a $99 microphone. And then the DAW that I use is literally GarageBand. I use GarageBand to record everything that I do, and it's free on all Macs.
Yeah.
And then you can get free plugins. I would say like if you're intimidated by the effects side of things, just go on YouTube, and I would say like look up a 3-minute video on what a compressor does, what a noise suppressor does, what a limiter does, and what a multiband equalizer does. Like those 4 things, and you can get incredible sound, and then you don't have to rely on some sort of like upload and hope that it does it afterwards and it sounds good. It's like you can streamline that so that you sound the same every single time and nothing ever changes and that type of thing. Those 4 things, you can get a free plugin to do all 4 of those, and you get like professional sound without having to do too much post. Like those 4 things would be worth your 10 minutes to go on YouTube and just watch like a super basic, probably info graphic version of like, what does a compressor do? And it'll explain it to you. I mean, that's how we all learned. They explained it to you like you're, 5 years old, and you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And then you incorporate it in your, free recording software, and it sounds great.
That's awesome. Now you guys do YouTube too, right? That's what we talked about, Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah.
Get a light.
Yeah.
Get
Get
a
a
light.
ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a little cheap ring light you can get on my Amazon. Just they kick butt. I'm using my wife's right now. I don't know about you. I don't know about everybody else here, but I also have I put the show on YouTube, and so I just try and have a light or something, because if not, you're just going to see a bunch of junk in my garage, which you can see now because it's during the day. But yeah, bunch of kayaks and crap. How's what do we got left on questions, boys? What do we got here?
I don't know how many we got left.
Not a whole lot.
No, not many more.
Keep firing, fire away. And for the listeners, we're we are all here. We are all podcasters, or everybody else
is
is
going to be
podcaster.
recorded. That's right.
Yeah. This is
I just figured we were having a conversation.
Yeah. No,
Well, we are, but it's just.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I forgot this was going to be uploaded.
Joe's back, everybody. Joe's back.
I think that might have covered it.
Yeah,
Actually,
I think we actually have every single one that we've written down covered. I think like I wrote like a fun one down just for like selfishness. Because we have all of you in a room. And I just wanted to know if you guys happen to have any humorous stories or anything memorable that has happened along your time podcasting behind the scenes. So something that nobody has heard on an episode or seen on a YouTube video that is either funny or something that is super memorable to you.
I have multiple. I have so many.
There was one
Armando was there for one, actually.
Which
I
one
was
was that
interviewing
one?
Armando, and I had terrible internet, and we have internet out here where I live. The internet went out in my neighborhood. We were mid recording, like we had recorded probably an hour and a half, say an hour into the show, Armando, and all of a sudden just internet gone. Show died, everything died. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And it was like probably like my 4th show. I was like, mortified. It was so terrible. Took 2 days to get back up.
To me, I think the funny one is I had to edit a lot of it. It's the one thing you never want to be on is losing control of your own show. And there are certain guests that like I had the Bass and Blues crew, and I love them, but it's not my brand of podcast. Right? There's nothing wrong with theirs. It's just not what I do. I lost control of that one pretty quick, and it was hilarious. But it was like, I had to edit some of it out because it was hilarious. It was just funny, and it's at that point where you're like, I just lost control of the show.
You said that verbally. You're like, I just lost
I
control.
just lost control of the show. It's not good. This
That's
is never good.
Hoodlum cat.
That is.
It is.
Sounds like the Bass and Brew crew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Should have
is one of the
invited them.
It's one of the funniest things that I've been a part of. Was they had me on as a guest, and it was a tournament weekend, and I was rigging up, and I agreed to come on my phone and be on their show while I was rigging tackle. And I was staying with a friend of mine who's an older gentleman that fishes our local trail, and I was like, "Hey, you want to come be on the show with me? Like, you're rigging tackle 5 feet away. You might as well just come join the fun." And I thought he knew what I was talking about of coming on the show and like joining in the questioning. And he's a funny guy. Like, he's a trip. Like, he's always the guy that's got the stories and everything. You know, the guy you want to see at awards after that has a beer and, has some funny story to tell you. And
White Claw.
of course, the Bass and Brew guys, like, they get everything out of you. They provoke all of it. And they get him going, telling all of his life stories, some of the wild rated R stuff that I can't repeat again that he's done. And I'm like, I can't believe he's saying this stuff. And after, like, we're getting to the end, they're like, man, the comments are rolling in this one. And he like looks at me, he goes, what do you mean the comments? He goes, oh, everybody who's watching live. And he's like, he looks at me like a ghost. He's like,
Oh no.
this is live? I'm like, I told you the show was going. And he's like, he goes, do not show my wife. And he walks away immediately.
Oh my god.
It was good. That was one of their favorite shows.
Oh no.
Yep.
So real quick, I got to jet, guys, because apparently we're getting kicked out of this rest stop right now.
There it is. That's your story. Instead of he literally shared his funny story. Like,
so I appreciate you guys having me on. Sorry I was late. Sorry I'm leaving early. That's just kind of my MO, as some of you already know. So, but I will see some of you guys at ICAST. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
You should
All
bring
right.
the person kicking you out on the show right now.
Do it, Joe. Go get him. It's okay.
Be like, hey,
I'm
this
okay
is the
with it.
whole Angler podcast. You're kicking me off right now.
They're all the.
Do you know how important this
I don't
is?
think you understand.
You just be like, I'm filming with Joe Rogan right now. You're really gonna kick me off?
Now the question is which one of us has to like act like Joe Rogan?
the real
That's
funny
a
thing
Bobby
is
roll. That's Bobby 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
he's going to invite a security guard into the whole angler podcast, and the guy's going to walk in, and there's fishing rods all over the bed. And he's-
I
Wait,
would
what?
do it I would do it if I didn't have to have them like come inside my space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all good, dude.
No.
Joe, thanks for showing up, man.
All right,
I'll make a
boys.
phone call to a specific hotline to
See you,
complain about it
Joe.
later.
I there'll probably be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new FTGs at me tomorrow. So yeah, love you guys too. See ya.
See you, Joe.
Yeah, I'll talk to you
See you,
soon.
Joe.
Oh man.
And there were 6. Andrew,
Yeah. Andrew, I gotta think.
episode.
Oh, I mean, the most embarrassing one is I went like 20 minutes in our very first episode with Ike, and I didn't hit record.
oh, that happened to me too.
Yeah, that was like the only time I've ever actually got like into the middle of an episode and been like, oh no, like I'm not recording anywhere. I have absolutely nothing, and we're full half into this conversation. So I just started recording at that moment and then spliced it together so it sounds like that was where the start of the episode was, and I just framed it like that. You can't tell when you listen to the episode, but there's a good 20 minutes of lost Ike footage from that episode that just doesn't exist.
I had that with, I think it was like a charity event. It was something important too. Can't remember what it was. And I remember looking at my computer and just my face dropped. It's like, God, I didn't hit the record. And he's talking, he's going deep into his story, and I interrupt him. It's like, wait. And he has this confused face, like, why are you interrupting me? Like, he's looking at me like, you really interrupted me? And I was like, hey, I forgot to hit record. His face was like you dumbass. Like, he was really bothered, but you can tell his facial expression was like, you dumbass. I've been going deep into this story for the last 20 minutes. Yeah, it was probably the most embarrassed I've ever been to.
Dear.
That's
Bobby.
rough. This is interesting because this was an interview I did. I think it was just last summer, maybe, and it was Jimmy Raw Fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Great interview, unbelievable, and the whole thing went up like as it was, because when I record that stuff, I try to keep it as loose. I really tell all the guests I only cut out like a really long, like pregnant pause that just sounds awkward, or if they're just like, give me a minute, I'll cut that and I'll splice it together. But he shared a story that I was not expecting, and it was a tragic story. He had one of his best friends died on the water. They were on a small boat. I think they were fishing the salt. I forget all the details. And like, dude, it hit him. It was hard for him to talk about this. Like, and he mentioned he had something to talk about beforehand, but like we had gone back and forth quite a bit. I had no idea that this was coming, and I was like, "Oh, holy fucking hell! What do I do here? Do I shut? I kind of rolled with it." But it was one of the most intense moments I've ever had with a guest before. I was just like, because I was completely out of the blue. I was like, oh my God, that's insane. He had struggled a lot too with getting off the bank and getting back out there. And then he went, I think he did a charter trip, if I'm not mistaken. And was he on Todd Grubb's ship? Maybe. But he did a trip, and he was just like, yeah, this is a big deal for me to check this off my list and like get back at it. So it was in the end, like, has a good happy meaning, but like that affected him big time.
Yeah, as it should.
Yeah.
Crazy. And I was like, oh yeah, this is nuts.
Yeah. I'd say those are those circumstances where at least 90% of the people, it's like, you just kind of don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of polarizes you watching somebody else go through something emotionally, dude. It'll like stop you, man. It's
you're
wild.
like, you're in this position because you're the host, and you've got to guide this back to port, at one point or another. And you're like, so it's like, how do I go from that to like, so give me 2 stories that you're not, you know what I mean? Or one of those like staple. I'm like, it's crazy. And man, I was like, holy crap, I couldn't believe it. And I even told him after, I was like, dude, I didn't know that was coming. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he's just like, hey, I had to talk about it. Like, I had to actually get it out there. And I was like, well, I'm happy you were able to do it,
Probably helped him, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good dude too. I got to get down to Jersey and fish snakeheads with bait finesse.
Dude.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Well, on a complete polar 180, I'll give you guys a piece of advice here. And this should kind of be common sense, but make sure your guest has clothing on before you record.
What?
Yes.
All right.
There you go, Bobby. That's perfect. I think some people in this panel know who John King is.
Yes.
He is one of the greatest.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest humans. But he is a wild card. And I'll always welcome him with open arms to our show, but it has to be very heavily filtered and vetted out before we ever start recording. But every 100 episodes, we do what we call it the not so serious show, and we just bring on friends of the show and just let loose. And we learned really fast. John King, we had him on, and Pat Renwick from Stray Cast, and neither of them had clothing on. Thankfully, nothing was shown while we were live, nevertheless.
Why did you specify while you were live?
Yeah, we were live.
John King.
We should be worried about what was shown
invented
when it wasn't live.
Well, this is the best part. So John's done this twice to us, actually.
Fool me once.
John's one of the kind of guys. He's like, what kind of debauchery can I do? But thankfully, nothing bad happened from it. It was hilarious when he was leaving. He got up when he was interviewing, like he was on the show, he was like this. You could see his t-shirt. So he didn't think anything of it. We're like, okay, he's behaving tonight. And he stands up and we learn that it's a belly shirt. And the dude's got his ex-wife's thong on as he leaves the camera.
Yep.
And I was like, well, there goes that show. Like, thankfully, only my grandmother listens to this show, so we didn't have to worry too much about it.
Was that the Christmas one that he did that?
I don't know which he's done too much. I don't know
the one where he got up and we had a full conversation, and then he just got up and walked away to the thong. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
It likely was a Christmas special. I don't know.
The best part is he's sitting there doing that full interview, just in that moment. An hour.
When it all hits you, you're like, oh my gosh. But we're not the only show he's done that to. But yeah, it's a special guy, John King. There you go.
Yeah,
100%.
Drunkwood.
Love him.
Oh,
well, boys, do you feel a little bit more comfortable moving forward?
Or less comfortable?
Yeah. They're like, you know what? I'm not doing this podcast.
They're all,
Step one, make sure guest has clothes.
You're off to a good
Step
start.
2, never ask John King on your show.
Yes.
You're going to do just fine.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, this has been amazing. I really do appreciate the opportunity to let us come on and talk to all of you. You guys are like someone we look up to in this, and being able to just like bop things off of you guys that we've been thinking about over the last few months. It was a pleasure.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Great.
You guys are you're killing it. You're doing great.
Yeah. The show is solid. Keep it going. Just run it. I love it.
We
Bailey,
appreciate it.
where can we find you?
Everywhere you find the whole angler.
Oh God! Don't go looking up the whole angler. If you Google it, it's weird.
Anybody gets weird fast.
No, you don't Google the angler's hole. You Google.
Yeah, exactly. The wording is correct.
Don't forget the W, boys.
Bailey, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate you doing this, dude. I know you got cats to get back to and a wife that's probably got a YouTube video of you playing right now on the TV. Hopefully.
I'm sure.
Dude, thanks for coming on, Bailey. I appreciate
Appreciate it,
you.
boys.
All right, bud.
Nice to see you, Bailey.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Hey.
Armando, thank you, dude, for showing up. I know
Hey,
you were recording your actual show, and we just kind of changed the time on you, but you swung it anyways, dude, and I really appreciate it, dude.
No problem, man. I actually had a mess. I have to edit that's one thing about, I don't know if you guys do live streaming, Matt and James, but yeah, today's live stream, the start of it was just a mess. I hit go live like 2 minutes before I wanted to go live, so I had to shut it down and do another link, and mic wasn't working, the guest mic wasn't working, so it was a mess. So I have to edit all that when I upload it to the MP3 format.
Gosh, dude, that's why I'll never do lives. I'm afraid of it.
Yep.
Nightmare.
Yep. No, thank you. I'm terrible enough in person. Everybody doesn't need to. At least if it's a bad show, I can delete it.
That is a nice part of what we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. But Armando, again, thank you, dude, for showing up. I really appreciate you, man.
Sorry I couldn't make it earlier.
No.
I hope whatever information I gave is productive, and
Dude,
if it's not, I apologize.
No, it was wonderful.
Don't listen
dude.
to me. Listen to Bailey, listen to Andrew, listen to Bobby.
I appreciate you, Armando. Thank you so much, bud. All right.
You're gonna be on the iCast. Who's going to iCast? Oh, you going, Dave? You going? I know you're going, Andrew.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
I'll
man.
be there.
I'll
Bobby,
be
you
there
going
with
too?
FluxJet. I'll be there. I fly out Sunday morning, so I'll be there with FluxJet the whole time. Really fun.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll be there Wednesday and Thursday, so I'll see you guys around.
You're not gonna go on the water?
No, I always go in like late Tuesday night, early Wednesday, and then I leave like Friday morning.
All right. Well,
Tuesdays, plenty for me.
I'll be the idiot in a Hawaiian shirt.
The first time I went, I did the whole Tuesday to Friday.
It's a lot.
No, Thursday, dude, my feet hurt so bad.
You can get everything you if you're going
Yeah.
for like what we would go for, like to pick apart all the gear and do all that stuff, you can get that done in a day and a half, 2 days, and get out of there.
Yeah.
I'll be
Looking forward to your
Saturday.
content of that, your recap of iCast, Andrew. It's always good.
It should be a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Urchin Palooza.
What do you mean 40 millimeters?
I will dedicate approximately 37 seconds to urchin baits and 2.5 hours to stuff people actually care about.
44 millimeters. No,
Yeah.
thanks. Unless it's a bullet. I'm
It's
good.
TPE.
What's the over under on copy baits this year, Andrew?
Oh, there's gonna be. I have a running list of all of the Koike knockoffs that I have seen, and I think it's at like 45 baits and counting.
Wow.
Like I have a whole notes app of every time I see one, I add it to it just to keep record.
I mean,
By the way, Andrew, keep doing the Lord's work out there, calling
Yeah.
out those AI generated.
yes.
When someone texted me the other day and said, "Dude, you're turning into the Randy Blockett of AI,"
That was me.
Oh man, it hit me so hard, and I was like, oh, "You either die a villain or die a hero, or live long enough to see yourself."
No, but I
become a
said it
villain."
with respect.
Some people just like to watch the world burn.
So funny.
I will say, I feel as a fan of the game, I'm not like an industry insider, but by any means, but as a fan of the game, like I feel like so many years of the copycat baits, the copycat game is not as big of a deal anymore. I really just don't.
I've been
see
on
it
that
being-
train forever. I've been on
Yeah.
the. I've never seen it. Oh, I'm about to get on a soapbox. I'll stop myself. But I've never seen an industry hate competition more in my life.
Dude, it's cannibalistic.
Competition is a good thing. Competition
Yes.
lowers prices. It gives you more options. Heaven forbid you have more options to choose from. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Andrew's gonna roll his eyes because he's probably heard me say this on it times we talked, but my issue is not the copying. Like I agree with Andrew. If I can get that same bait cheaper, better quality, like
Yeah.
the poster child, the Nessie, right when it came out.
Yeah.
My only gripe was it got the award for the best innovation bait. I'm like, you copied something. You can't give you an award for innovation when you copy it. But other than that, I'm with Andrew. Like, dude, it's if it's gonna be cheaper, better quality. Like the Koikis are now selling on for like a dozen for $10 at I don't know where, like Amazon.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Everything I
pay
buy in the world is from
25, yeah.
Amazon. I
Yeah.
shop at Aldi. Everything I do is generics version of things. Like I don't buy name brand anything. So why is fishing got to be any different?
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not, I'll
Oh no,
stop.
I'm totally into this. No, okay, I'm into it. I
love-
got littles. I gotta,
Yeah.
you know, headlock so they go to sleep. But because I'm an abusive father, I guess. Thank you, Armando. I appreciate you, dude. Andrew, bro, go get some sleep, rest. Thank you for carving out the tonight. I appreciate you. And Andrew's audio is probably already off. So
There we go. I got it
Oh,
back.
there you go. Yeah, there
This
you
whole
go.
time, you want a little behind the scenes. This whole time, when someone else starts talking, I have to change my output again, and then it'll let me hear them. So this whole time, if you see me lean up like this, I've changed my output and then back, and it'll let me hear whoever's talking talk. So I've just been doing that for the
I
past.
literally thought you were trying to
hours.
keep your cat off the desk like the whole time.
No. So every time someone new would talk, then they would start talking, but their mouth would be like this, but I wouldn't be able to hear them. So if I switch the input and back, it would pop back on. So I've just been doing that.
Dude,
So sorry
podcasting
for the pause.
101. No, podcasting 101.
This
boys.
is why
Podcasting
poster child
episode.
on why I don't do lives or YouTube or anything. I have my own little like beep boop setup where I know I've got everything dialed, and you hit on and you record and you're done.
Yep.
You saw what train wreck I was just trying to get this thing set up to be able to do this.
For sure, dude.
Oh, but thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This was
Dude.
fun.
I appreciate you coming on, and dude, go get some sleep. You know, take a break, go get some sleep. I appreciate you carving out the hour or two.
Shipping labels. I'll be up.
Okay, well, shipping. Get to shipping that.
Yeah.
Dude, you literally look like a Cambodian drug dealer right now with all those boxes. Dude. It's so crazy. I love
I've
it.
been thinking this this entire episode.
Thank you, though. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate you. All right, man. Have a good night,
You too.
Bobby.
Yo,
Dude, thank you so much, bud. I appreciate you, dude.
Hey. Thank you, Matt and James, as well. You guys kind of like together spearheaded this whole thing. This was absolutely awesome.
Dude,
Hey,
I'm
thanks
glad
for
we could
being
do
here,
it.
Bobby.
And Bob, dude, thanks for all the info, dude.
Yeah,
We need to just start a Bobby Roast Beef hotline where people can call you and talk to tech support about, podcasting and their
bracelets.
equipment.
What would Bobby do?
Dude. Columbus.
Yes.
What would Bobby
we
do?
just start handing them out everywhere.
Yes.
That's not a bad idea. Oh, and instead
Bobby's-
of piece, we could make it a largemouth.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Dude.
Yes.
Yes. I'm down. Boys, Bobby's not going to be in Columbus this year. He's got some big plans.
I might be in.
Are you going to be?
Huh?
Are you going to be?
I very well might, because the show is still the last week of January, I believe, right?
I think so. I think they did that again this year.
I think so. Yeah.
I think we're good. I think we're going to be good. I have a feeling that Joe and I are going to end up splitting Columbus and New England again, but I'd rather go to Columbus.
No, so that's the thing. Go to Columbus and then talk to Meg. He'll go to Columbus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was about to say Meg might be the only one that gets mad about that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what we got to really do? We got to talk with Taylor and tell him, like, dude, you got to get Fish or Die at the Columbus.
At Columbus, yes.
Alternate, you know what I'm saying? Because I know
We could-
we're drawing New England, but
We could tie the Fish or Die booth right onto the Dark Horse tackle.
yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
I'm probably gonna wake up with a horse head in my bed tomorrow from the organizers in New England just for saying that, but it is what it is. Right.
Yeah. Either way, dude, Columbus is where it's at. We got to talk to Shoulders. She'll get May, or she'll get Joe on board.
Shoulders.
Meg,
What, shoulders?
showing your shoulders like a hussy.
Oh, that's right. The old Canadian koala.
Dude, I love Nick, man. Oh man.
Best. You
I'm
know,
like, I have goals to get Nick on this show. You know that, right?
you definitely need to get Nick on the show, but I'm going to go one further than that. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm in the process of trying to plan a Quebec trip with the koala and Madam Koala and Queen Beef. Yeah.
Ooh, dude.
Take
Call
the boat
it-
up.
Oh my god, the Canadian beef tour? Yes.
The Canadian beef tour.
House band will be Rush. It's going to be awesome. You know,
Oh, I'm into it. Dude, Bobby, thank you, dude. I really appreciate you, bro.
you guys are the greatest.
Yeah.
I love this stuff. This little community is great. I love it. Live for this shit.
It's amazing. It's
If
awesome.
if we ain't here helping each other, we're all here sinking each other. So
True.
that's all it is. All right, bud. Appreciate you.
Take care, homie.
Take care.
See you, Bobby.
Boys. How
It
did
was
that
just
go?
us.
Yeah.
It was
how'd that-
amazing. It was fun,
Yeah.
man. I thought that was a good time.
Good, man. I'm glad. I really wanted to get you guys out and get you introduced to a couple other guys that know way more about this stuff than I do. So because
Yeah,
I mean,
I get it.
we've been talking. You had a few questions. I'm like, man, and it just inspired me to put you in front of like the right people. So
Hey, we appreciate you putting us where we needed to be.
hey, dude. Well, I hope you got a lot out of it. And I hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I'm
I-
gonna go ahead.
for sure.
We're gonna go ahead and end the episode together. So we're gonna run this positive moment real quick.
I'm for place. And there's no one place. And there's never be for a few days. And them born and trees. I got some trees. Go my dada.
And with that, I'm Dave Erke, and this is Matt and James of the Small Ponds Big Dreams podcast. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of your.